I've worked for the Children's Society for the past 2.5 years. I've been involved in writing resources and communications for churches to encourage Christians to think about why support vulnerable young people, why help those who are experiencing different and multiple problems, and particularly why campaign on different issues, why campaign around refugees, why campaign around child poverty, and recently why campaign around young people who are affected by debt. So the Children's Society work with lots of different young people in a really direct one-to-one way, doing therapy and counselling and supporting them whenever young people feel alone, standing with them. But as well as this direct one-to-one work, we do some campaigning work, making a change not just for a few individuals, but for millions of children across the country. So to campaign then is to work in an organised way, an active way to achieve a particular goal. By campaigning, we challenge and change opinion. We raise awareness of how particular situations affect others, and we can do that on a national scale. For those who might not have thought before about how debt impacts upon young people, then a campaign can bring about a change in mindset. We campaign to change policies that affect children's lives. Impact can be greater than we have ever anticipated. And in a moment, I will point you to a Children's Society campaign that's been able to make a change for millions of young people. To campaign is to bring people and communities together on issues that you care about. I'm sure you might have had the experience of campaigning with your church community. Perhaps just take a few seconds to think about how that changed your church. I'm sure for many of you, you will have seen relationships deepened, strengthened, people coming together, deep, authentic community being built. To campaign is to speak for those whose voices go unheard. Thankfully, many of us are in positions of influence. If we have something to say, we might have a platform to say it on. We can speak out in our church, amongst our community on social media. There are lots of people who don't have that same ability to use their voice. So I think as churches we have a responsibility to use our voices to bring about change. I was delighted that Bishop Rob spoke about Jesus calling us to campaign. The writers of Scripture certainly have something significant to say about supporting and protecting those who are living in debt. Jesus calls us to be concerned with money, with finance, bringing freedom and bringing about change for those who are amongst the most vulnerable, those who are on the margins. That's something we see not just from the mouth of Jesus, but throughout the whole Bible. We read in Leviticus 25, "If any of your kin fall into difficulty and become dependent on you, you shall support them. They shall live with you as though resident aliens. Do not take interest in, advance, or otherwise make a profit from them, but fear your God, let them live with you. You shall not lend them your money at interest taken in advance, or provide them food at a profit." Necessary measures are put in place to ensure that those who are living in financial difficulties have the space that they need to breathe, that they have freedom, that they're released from those debts. It's a really beautiful thing when others are involved in calling that out and saying, actually, people need the space and time to be able to breathe, to be able to repay debts. Christians are called to be generous, generous with those who are struggling financially, and I think to campaign is to be generous, to demonstrate to people that we want to help them to do something to bring about a change in their difficult scenarios. I think churches are amazing central spaces. They bring communities together in a really practical, physical way. They can be used for meetings, events, or outreach. It's really easy for a whole community to gather, and it's a place where clergy can meet with MPs, councillors, faith groups, can bring other people in their church into it who are living locally. I think it's a fantastic opportunity to kind of bring everyone into one building. There aren't many other spaces in a community where that's practically possible. It's amazing to have ready-made groups of people who can work together. I think faith groups are positioned so well to be able to campaign because groups of like-minded people coming together really can make a difference. So how does this play out at the Children's Society? We've recently been growing our campaign called The Debt Trap, and this has had several different parts to it. It's involved campaigning to ensure that payday loan advertising isn't directly targeting children and young people. It's been campaigning around young people's mental health. Problem debt can so easily affect the mental health of children and young people. If children's parents are worrying about the debts that they're in, then that can have a huge impact on children's anxiety, on their levels of worry, and to be able to tackle that issue, I think, has been really exciting for the Children's Society in the last few years. We've campaigned for a breathing space for those who are living in problem debt, and it was exciting last year to see that actually come into practice. The government decided they were going to adopt a breathing space scheme, which we hope will have a huge impact on all of those children who are at the moment facing really difficult family situations. Their parents can't afford to pay back debts. So if you'd like to talk to me more about the Children's Society's work, or to find out anything else about how to practically campaign, I would love to talk to you afterwards. Thank you.